Welcome to the Cult of Comics podcast. I am your host, Tyler, and I'm joined again by my usual criminals cohorts. And one of them is blue right now, Josh Craven.
Yeah,
and Sean
there's
Walsh.
there's this light now. With the daylight saving of the time. Now it is light outside.
That has nothing to do with
I'm in a different location.
Do you just have a blue room?
I don't know what's going on.
He blew
with
himself.
This. I was yellow and now I'm blue.
All right, I'll allow it for now.
Block some of this light.
That's just making it worse.
All I'm thinking is Tobias in Arrested Development, where he's like, come see Daddy. I blew myself.
I never actually ended up watching that show. I watched the first
it went off the rails a little. Season 4 wasn't great. Season 5 was just a mess.
I know people who are dedicated to that show, and I just don't
Seasons
understand it.
1 to 3 are really, really good. Honestly, they really are.
Okay.
And just then it went off the air for like 15 years, and then Netflix picked it up, and it just wasn't the same.
Season 4 is not bad.
Season
5, I don't know.
Season 4 is just very like Falcon Winter Soldier. That's for sure.
Yeah, Falcon Winter Soldier. Let's get into this.
A second. My transition was going to be, before I was so rudely interrupted by the fucking colonialist, was that everyone has the dedication to a show. And for some people, that might be this show that we're talking about in this episode, which is going to be The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Even I'm not a fan of that show.
Transition. And then unfortunately, your fucking drunk ass came and opened your goddamn gash.
I have not been drinking much.
Well, you can't.
This is the point in the episode where we've lost everybody.
Everyone's already checked out.
It's only a couple minutes in. We're fine. Welcome to the Cult of Comics. If you've never been on the show before, this is your first time. Cool. Thank you for hopping on. We're going to be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We've done previous episodes on WandaVision as well, where we did a weekly breakdown on everything that we saw on the show from there. And ultimately, that led to our disappointments. Cult of Comics is a comics media podcast. We talk about things that are comic book related, typically comic books themselves and comic book movies, TV shows, and definitely a TV show in this case. So we're going to be breaking down Falcon and the Winter Soldier as we have just all watched it as it came out today. What do you guys think?
And no one's going to learn anything. We're going to make wild conjectures throughout this entire series.
Who do we think Mephisto is in this?
Probably the Senator.
I thought the same.
Mephisto. I think no. You know what? There's going to be. This is the trick. They're both Mephisto. What are you going to fucking do with that, bro? Huh? Anyways.
Yeah, this was it was exactly what I expected it to be. It's a lot less ambitious than WandaVision. It's not like breaking these boundaries, but it was extremely solid for what it was.
I didn't expect for us to get such a slice of life sort of show.
Same.
That bit was a bit more, I wasn't quite expecting that, but like just sort of a more toned down, straightforward action show is what I was expecting. And for the most part, that was what we got here.
But I was thinking about like a political thriller, like Jack Ryan.
I can still see that being a potentially like big
more.
part of the story. I think that this is going to be a big setup to male trauma, which is what this struck me as for this first episode. It seems less. Go ahead.
Sorry. It was slice of life, but they're also everyone's dealing with coming back from being unblipped.
Yeah.
It's been this. We're not just coming right out of it. It's been a few months.
Yeah.
This show gave Sam and Bucky more character than they've had in all their other films combined, I think.
I agree, but I think that this is done in a way that feels very much, especially cinematography wise, to what they did with Winter Soldier, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. The cinematography in this was gorgeous. There was sequences where they were filming outside of the shop and then they were zooming through the window and there was a cloud. There was inside shots, like the shot with the mochi that actually was really captivating for me. There was a lot of this that they could have just been like action movie or action show and then just said fuck it to whatever, but this actually had effort.
Yeah, the first like 10, maybe just under 15 minutes of this episode was just an action sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, okay, that's what it's going to be then. Like, this is going to be the show the whole way through. This is just
I'm happy it's not.
Yeah, like the next thing we'll see after, we finish this quick mission is, we'll see Bucky on his mission.
Yeah,
and then eventually
that's
they'll
exactly
get
what
together.
I was expecting. And then we did have a Bucky mission, but it was a dream.
Oh, yeah, that really threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
same.
So I'm happy we did get the downtime and the character development here because,
I mean,
we really have to focus on where they are currently, and then they'll get into what's going to happen.
I personally enjoyed the scenes where it is a little bit more downtime than anything else.
Absolutely.
The best parts of the show have been where it digs more into the emotional aspect of it. I also liked that there wasn't so much heavy-handedness as there could have been. I mean, it was definitely spoon-fed to you, the fact that Bucky's therapist is former military, and that was like the relatability that they have between each other. I
and the whole don't write that down, don't write in the notebook.
I feel like this was in some ways kind of, because there have been a couple of sit-down interviews with the both of them on Zoom, talking about shows that they would relate this to or movies they would relate this to, and it's a buddy cop kind of style show, so it's not going to be unlike Tango and Cash or Lethal Weapon.
That's one thing I want to talk about, because I was expecting a buddy cop show, and they, as of the end of the first episode, they are not together.
Yeah,
we haven't had anything
surprising to me.
Yeah, but I was just expecting it to be like the end of this episode would be where they do finally team up. So it's weird going into episode 2, they still haven't. Like, I get it, like they will team up eventually, but it was just, I was expecting that moment at the end of episode 1.
I mean, I didn't necessarily go into this with any expectations. I think that I was definitely put off a little bit by that opening action sequence. It was fun, but it was definitely...
It was really well done, I think, for a TV show. Like, it was...
That's not necessarily the issue I had, I guess.
No, I get what you're trying to say,
Well, no, because, okay, so a little while back, I had a conversation with you guys about an experience that I had on Twitter with somebody where it was like a half argument, half conversation. I mean, we were civil about it, so it wasn't like shouting each other down.
You were civil? Wait, you being civil on Twitter?
I know, it's unheard of, right?
Screenshots now.
I can't now. My account's been suspended, remember, because I made that joke about the Queen's husband.
Because you were shouting at someone.
But by the way, it doesn't really make any sense to me that he's not the king. I don't get that.
Every comment from Tyler is just, you make a really good point, asshole. Anyways.
Thanks, fuckface. So the conversation that I had with one of my mutual friends, like mutuals, like someone who follows me, I follow them, was that there was a popular tweet that was spread around that was a screenshot from WandaVision, and it was Vision talking to Wanda and saying, it's that sequence where he says, what is love if not, or what is grief if not love eternal, or love
persevering,
enduring.
So they wrote out the subtitles, and it said it was, what is Marvel if not military propaganda? And I had asked you guys about that.
Oh,
I remember this. Yeah,
it was a huge discussion about military propaganda and how Marvel as a whole, that was the statement, is all military propaganda. And I got really into it because the top number one comment was like 15,000 likes, and it was a picture of, the American military like saluting and being like, and it was like a big selection of them. And the comment on that tweet in response was, me and the boys after going and watching a talking raccoon climb a walking tree fighting in space.
Yeah.
And that was hilarious because it's a good point.
Yeah.
Because the idea that the entire over-encompassing thing of Marvel being military propaganda is ridiculous. But something that they did,
it's a real mixed bag.
This is the problem. Like, I would say that of the movies that are like more military propaganda, the most would be Captain America, and then maybe Iron Man.
Iron Man 1, yeah, because you got him in the
maybe the Avengers movies where you're on a helicarrier, you're following enough people from S.H.I.E.L.D. around.
But like the Captain America films are him going against the US government.
Yeah,
it's not.
So it's
not
a real
like
mixed bag.
America. It's like, no, America fucking sucks. I represent America, and I'm telling you your shit.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole corruption problem throughout with all of Hydra.
Yeah. Literal Nazis infest the country in basically what is the CIA. And in some cases, the politicians, the military, etc.
Yeah,
so chunks of them.
Captain America is hunting down spy
and
Nazis.
Now Bucky is.
Yeah. So, I mean, the comment that I had received was that was a very liberal take, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with, because I would say that that's a pretty strong, anti-authoritarian, response to, and it was framed really well. Like, I get that the Department of Defense, and this is a thing that I just learned about, the Department of Defense does fund some portions of Hollywood, and they actually are hired on, or they.
Yeah, you ever seen The Last Ship?
I don't know what that is.
That was a big. That you could say was a big propaganda for the Navy.
I mean, I wouldn't
about the last.
Yeah. I would say,
but
Lone
I think
Survivor, Shooter, that.
But after this episode, I feel like either of you could come away feeling justified in your arguments.
Well, especially after this episode, and that was the thing about this opening sequence that left that kind of like feeling with me, where I was just like, this definitely feels like a very pro-military kind of thing, and I don't mind it so much for an action sequence. I mean, I also recognize that it's about a dude flying around in a metal winged costume with
USA,
fighting a French terrorist, called Betrouk the.
If this was this was pro-US military propaganda, he wouldn't be Falcon, he would be Eagle.
Yeah.
that's the biggest point.
But you're going to have, and we'll get into that part for the episode, is that, you're going to have the new Captain America, who is the, US agent. Mm-hmm. Captain America is funded again by, the government. He's part of the government.
Yeah.
He's so Captain America as he was always intended to be.
So the thing that I was going to say was, with regard to, with two things. One, with the propaganda, that it doesn't necessarily have to be heavy-handed propaganda for it to be propaganda, right? Like, I can acknowledge that. I think that you can have something that can be kind of subtle. Like, I wouldn't say Transformers is very subtle, but it definitely is fucking heavy propaganda of USA military, go! Join the fucking
left cheek,
left
team. Cheek.
Yeah, fucking go! But I definitely... So the Department of the Defense steps in with Hollywood films to make sure that the military is, what's the word I'm looking for? That they are perceived properly. And in some cases, the Department of Defense has funded some Marvel films, one of which was Iron Man. I think the other one was definitely Captain America. I don't know if there was any of the Avengers films, but it's kind of a weird thing to think that there are any kind of money from the American military funding these things in order to make sure.
But they send a consultant.
That's what it is. It's a consultant.
Was it just the first of each movies?
As far as I'm aware, yes. Because I cannot personally imagine that in Iron Man 2, for example, where literally in the opening sequence, he goes in front of Congress and then literally tells them, you don't get my weapon. I don't want you to own a weapon, and I'm better than you. And I also think you're all incompetent.
Well, he's also like, the weapon is me. I am it.
Yeah, exactly. He talks about how he he privatized world peace, and then he does the peace sign thing.
And Sam goes back and forth in the episode. Like, earlier in the episode, he's ragging on Air Force techs. But then it's revealed that he was, he enlisted in the Air Force. So he was probably an Air Force tech.
Sure.
So, I said, it's kind of a mixed bag of stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there's a lot about this that it's definitely changed my perception on how I'm going to interpret some action films now, and whether it's coming from a source of entertainment versus propaganda, trying to get me to necessarily join or sympathize with American military in certain regards. I definitely don't think that the majority of the show so far has shown that to me. Right now, it comes across more to me as...
No, wait a sec. It is definitely U.S. propaganda. When Sam gets to the dock, marina, whatever... what his nephews, they call him Uncle Sam.
Oh man, I didn't.
I didn't pick up on that.
I did not pick
Really?
that up at all.
I thought that was very heavy-handed.
I mean, that is, but I missed it entirely.
Okay.
Hiding in plain sight.
Look at that. Wow. Good call out. All right.
His nephews can call him that. You can't call him that.
So let me ask you this. Have you guys watched any like big action shows or action movies or anything like that? Like outside of Hot Fuzz, or maybe the movies that are in Hot Fuzz?
Going into this, I thought we were going to get something more like I think it's, what is it called? 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Eric Roberts.
Oh man, that's a callback. All right.
Yeah, that's what, 80s, I think, late 80s, early 90s. I know it's a little old for you, Sean. But another thing
I've
they
never
cover.
seen anything made before 2005.
You really just start at 300 and move on from there.
Exactly.
But anyway, you've got Eric Roberts, who's the policeman. You got Eddie Murphy, who I don't know if he was like Shane. He's in prison for something, I think. I'm gonna completely butcher the. You ever seen that Akon music video?
What the fuck? What are you talking about?
There's an Akon and Eminem music video that covers 48 hours, and he's like, a inmate that's basically given 48 hours. Tangent. Yeah. No. Okay. So I wanted to. I am looping back around to the therapy session that Bucky was in, and they basically pass along the information that you were pardoned, and you just need to prove that you're not, a danger to yourself and others. And I thought it was going to be more like 48 Hours, where Bucky is kind of that Bucky is not forgiven by the U.S. government. He's still like an inmate of some sort, and Sam is going to be, responsible for Bucky while he's out and they're doing the mission. Mm-hmm. Like, because it's Zemo, they need him to,
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I see your point there, and that is kind of a little more what I was expecting, maybe.
Yeah, and now they're going to be more on even, now they get to be on even ground now that, Bucky has basically been given his pardon.
Yeah. And just a sort of slight tangent, I actually burst out laughing during the scene when Bucky's talking about like his he's doing his amends, and he's like, I followed the rule not to hurt anyone, just cuts back to him hurting someone.
Yeah, he's following it about as well as My Name is Earl. We just need to start with the My Name is Earl scroll.
That's
I'm gonna make that.
Show
I'm
I
gonna make a meme of that later.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm intrigued. I guess I'm just hesitant just because of how WandaVision ended. But I mean, for right now, I'm excited to see like what happens next. I think that
the thing about this show is because it's much more straightforward, simple. Like it's an action movie. Like
I still expect it to surprise us.
Sure.
Yes,
not go the way we want.
Not to the same extent. WandaVision came out and everyone was like, "What's going on?" Like the episode.
There's
so
not
mysterious.
A big mystery here.
Yeah. Whereas like WandaVision kind of failed to deliver on the premise. Whereas
they didn't just
Winter
fail to
Soldier's
deliver on the premise. I mean,
they failed to deliver on the premise that we wanted.
The show's creators have even said in an interview that they didn't expect the speculation to go off the wall. They didn't expect it to go
if we're gonna,
so crazy.
Yeah, if we're gonna cover WandaVision again, they said, hey guys, when we filmed WandaVision, they had just started working on Doctor Strange 2. Like Doctor Strange 2, that did not factor into this show at all.
I understand that, but at the same time, when you had already made a previous announcement that it was going to tie into that, and then you leave that open to so much. I mean, this is an audience.
It's poor advertising, but it's not. It's not the fault of the screenwriter.
No,
I disagree.
It's not the writer's fault that like Feige and the others were like, oh, this directly leads into this. Like,
no, it's not. But they should have had communication. Not just the screenwriters. Everybody in charge should have had some sort of a communication when it came to going into that show experience, especially when you start off so strong. I mean, if the show starts strong and then ends light, that's a failure on their part, whether like whatever you look at it.
Oh no, did we pass the 20-minute mark?
We did, but that's okay. We can continue for another couple minutes and then call it good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were never going to follow that anyway, were we?
Well, I mean, we're doing pretty good so far, I think. So let me ask you this, since we passed the 20-minute mark now, what is something that you really wanted to talk about when it came to this episode?
Yeah, have we actually spoken about the episode yet? We've just gone off in like so many tangents. Have we actually spoken about anything from the episode?
Well, we have talked about quite a bit. We talked about like we mentioned Sam.
We mentioned a couple people. There's a lot of new characters that are introduced in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Joaquin Torres, Sam's new sidekick, who eventually becomes Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
We had Batroc, who was a Marvel villain.
Was he a bouncer? What's his name? Batroc,
a kickboxer.
The Leaper.
Yeah, but he's some French kickboxer. Something.
Yeah, he's an acrobat basically, and he's a mixed martial artist. He always wears a purple jumpsuit in the comic books. He was in the Winter Soldier opening sequence, I believe. It was either that one or Civil War. I can't remember which one it was. It was the one where it was a black suit and he has the white star symbol, what Captain America does, on his suit. It has to be Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it's Winter Soldier. It was like the plain navy blue suit with just the white star.
Batroc the bouncer?
Oh wait,
bouncer?
I thought we were talking about Steve Rogers. I zoned out for a second.
No, you were. We are still.
The one that was on the ship.
I was trying to think about what the name of the dude is.
Okay.
Anyways, it was interesting seeing him in this. I wasn't really clear on why in that opening sequence there was tension between the American military and Batroc, and like why he was kidnapping and then murdering agents. I didn't really pick up on that at all.
Oh yeah, there's a guy on the wing.
Yeah,
which I
thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I want to talk about the bank scene.
Okay.
Because I found that quite interesting, dealing with like the sort of financial side of someone who was snapped.
Yeah, you have no income for the past 5 years.
Explain yourself. Because I didn't exist.
All the questions you've always wanted to ask an Avenger, but were never able to.
Yeah.
Do Avengers get paid?
So clearly not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here, would I?
Which is a good question to ask, because I'm certain that there's been like some sort of speculation.
I think they had to do that because
I don't know.
I think they had to do that because those were the first couple of questions that kind of popped into my mind when he's talking about, why is her business in disrepair or things like that. But I mean, they also cover their bases by her saying, I don't want your help. I need to do this myself, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like people have been saying, like, oh, why didn't Tony pay them? But like, do people not know anything about billionaires? Like,
greedy.
You don't become a billionaire by paying your workers.
Yeah, you're a greedy fuck. Like, I get the that there's people who are like either really for and really against Tony Stark, but it's just like he's a fictional character billionaire. Like, he's gonna be a bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
That's why
he should have paid his workers.
I mean, yeah.
God
So
damn it, Tony.
Here's my question: who do we think the guy in the mask is that robs the bank, whatever he was doing when he was carrying those things?
No, it's definitely not Zemo.
No, definitely not.
And it's definitely not US agent.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the same actor.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. The guy was a big dude.
Crossbones is dead, right?
Yeah. Well, remember the actor has said that character's done with at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't seem very happy in the interview.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately.
It could just be somebody new. Like the girl is new.
Well, yeah, but like, why would they introduce a random new villain that they just made up on the spot when they have a selection of Marvel characters that they can just be like?
Well, no, I mean it's like it's going to be a Marvel character, but it's somebody new to the game.
Give me Stiltman.
Mephisto.
He's saying Stillman? Is that Drax? Drax is Stillman.
So incredibly still that I
look
invisible.
It's a superpower.
Did Stiltman not show up in Daredevil at some point?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
There's been one Daredevil movie and then the show. And then the show they've had Elektra, the Hand, and
oh no, there was a reference to him in the guy who made the costumes workshop. There was stilts.
Oh yeah. You're right.
I knew there was something.
I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of who it could be outside of the
well, what is this terrorist group? They are a terrorist group. The new group that they were talking about. I didn't catch the name.
Apparently
flag bashers or something.
Flag Stealers, Flag
Smashers.
Flag Smashers, which is a weird name.
Yeah.
It's a weird name. The first thing that comes to mind is the symbol looks like the hand to me from Daredevil.
It does.
And I'm confused about that. Secondly, what's the name of the organization that dresses like snakes? You know what I'm talking about? They had it in the
Serpent something.
Serpent Society?
Yeah, that came up when I was looking at Joaquin Torres.
Okay. Well, because the reason I ask is because in that Rick Remender run, towards the end of when Captain America, gets old and then passes on the mantle to Falcon, the very last sequences you get someone winding down a set of stairs going towards that Serpent Society people. I don't know if that's their actual name.
The Sons of the Serpent.
Sons of the Serpent. Okay. I knew it was alliteration.
Yeah, Joaquin Torres is kidnapped by the Sons of the Serpent and then experimented on by Carl Malice. And then he basically he's not a mutant, but he's basically turned into a hybrid Falcon. So he's kind of a mutated. He's not a mutant, but he has been mutated.
Yeah, because those were the dudes that ended up being like super racist and being anti-immigration, and it was such a big deal that it actually came up on Fox News, and Fox News was like, these are just Americans who just don't want illegals coming in and crossing their border, and they're like defending characters that were designed to be racist in a comic book. Like, you couldn't make this shit up. Fox News is just that stupid. If you watch Fox News and you're listening to my podcast, go fuck yourself. Anyways,
oh shit, do we need to put our pronouns in our name? I just noticed you had yours.
I keep that up for school.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's not much else that I really wanted to say about the show other than I find it interesting that they're kind of following that along that.
I want to mention as well the old man Bucky was friends with.
I loved that.
I originally thought he was one of the soldiers from World War II.
I kind of did too.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah. Because there was an Asian soldier as well, wasn't there? That was part of their little group. I forget the name.
That was what is that actor's name?
No. It's two things. First off, that actor has played two characters in the Marvel universe.
Yep, Spider-Man Principal.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because
he's
related to him. He has an image of him in the
it's his grandfather. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought this was that character, but then now I'm realizing it's one of his amends.
Yeah.
Well,
when you get into the office, into his apartment, and you see the image of his
son. And the date, I forget what her name is, but she mentions his son as well, and that's when I connected the dots.
Yeah, that was when I realized it as well. Yeah.
Let's see. So, Sam has turned down the Captain America role and the Shield, and they were putting the Shield in the Smithsonian.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, we see the new Captain America.
I like how it was the same like museum display from Winter Soldier when we see Bucky like researching Cap.
I liked that too.
Yeah. But the same, I assume, senator that announced the new Captain America, he was at the ceremony and thanked Sam for, turning over the property.
I'm just confused about that whole end sequence. Like, I understand that that's U.S. agent, but I guess I'm just like, I'm not that familiar with that character, I guess. So yeah. I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, that dude himself is a mixed bag. Like, sometimes he's a bad guy, sometimes he's a good guy. He's played, John Walker has been gone by so many different names.
Okay. Well,
U.S. agent, super patriot,
Oh yeah, Super Patriot. I forgot about that. Okay.
He's Captain America at one point.
I remember that when the only times that I can recall, like people outside of Steve Rogers taking the mantle of Captain America have been Bucky when he had the old Ruger pistol, and Falcon during the Rick Remender run, and that's pretty much it. So I'm not that familiar with U.S. Agent, but I'm intrigued to see what happens next. I'm wondering what the message is at this point about like why Sam hasn't taken up the mantle. Like, what is it that he's trying to?
I think he's got to feel like he's worthy of it. And that was my prediction after watching this episode, is that he's basically got to realize that he is worthy of the mantle. Yeah. And I feel that's my prediction, is that at the end of the series, he will take up that mantle.
Yeah, he's going to take it.
And that gives way for Joaquin to become the Falcon.
Okay.
I think you mentioned earlier on.
So I was going to say, or a different bird Joaquin could become is Phoenix.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
You know,
I hate you.
Tyler at the beginning of the episode talked about trauma. And I think this series is going to be about them both, Bucky and Sam, getting over their trauma and, you know, becoming the better or best versions of themselves.
Well, this is not me trying to take away from the design of a character coming back from the blip, because I'm certain that I would have trauma from that, but I guess I'm wondering if that's going to be the same level of trauma as, like, I don't know, Bucky, for example.
Oh, well he's got a lot more baggage too.
Yeah. And that's not fair of me to compare trauma.
They were both blipped. They were both unblipped.
Okay.
So they both have trauma. I mean, if you have trauma from that, you definitely have to get your lives back together. But, you know, they also have, you know, Sam realizing that he is worthy of the Captain America role, Bucky making amends and getting to find peace.
My favorite thing right now is Bucky trying to deal with his list. I'm definitely intrigued to see what happens with Sam, but I'm kind of just surprised that a lot of it right now is revolving around his own family stuff. So I'm hoping that they go a little bit more into depth to Sam, because I feel like, I wouldn't say he's very two-dimensional right now, but I would say that he's on the lighter side of the storytelling right now. That's just me.
Okay. So let's, like you said, let's kind of wrap this up. If you guys have any predictions.
Oh, one more thing I want to mention is we actually did get a appearance from another character in this, unlike WandaVision. We had
that's
Rhodey
what I wanted to that's the other thing I wanted to ask, was what other cameos do you think we'll have?
Wait, who showed up?
Rhodey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's walking fine. He's got no robotic legs, you know.
I didn't even notice
or anything.
You're right.
Do you remember he had gone through rehabilitation with his legs for a little while?
Yeah, but last we saw him in Endgame, he was still sort of not.
I thought he still had the kind of exoskeleton on his legs.
Yeah, he did have something
in Endgame.
Yeah.
In Endgame, I don't remember that.
They show up at like the Avengers HQ, and he's there, and he like hangs up on. Or was that Infinity War?
I think that was Infinity War.
He was snapped. He was snapped, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
Yes, that was Infinity War then. I guess Tony could have come up with something in the...
This is the problem, and also one of the benefits of the shows, like this show, is that
maybe he got unsnapped with his legs intact.
Like when Tony re-snapped everything at the end, he was like, and Rhodey gets his legs back.
Well, the Hulk probably did that. Maybe he cured everybody of cancer when he.
You make it sound like he made a wish where he was like, "I wish for everyone."
No, I mean that is part of what the writers have said, was that he basically, you know, was smart enough to say, you know, like, if people were in airplanes, they're on the ground now.
Because he did say as well after Hulk snapped, he was like, "I did try and bring Natasha back. Like when I snapped, I was snapping for her too." So he did put some thought into his snap.
I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
Okay, so predictions and what you think other cameos we might see.
Predictions, I think we might get a loose lead into Armor Wars in this, maybe. The Rhodey show.
Maybe. maybe a soft one. I'm gonna say personally that if I don't see Baron Zemo team up with oh snap, help me out here. He was in the computer in Winter Soldier.
Arnim Zola.
Oh,
Arnim Zola.
Zemo and Zolo.
If Zemo and Zola don't team up, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. Don't get me wrong, I love Baron Zemo by himself.
How do you think they're gonna bring Zola back?
There was a deleted scene, or they might not have even filmed it, but in the original script there was a scene where you see one of the computers uploading his file elsewhere, off-site.
Okay.
But whether that's
He's just
canon,
such an interesting character. I would hate for that character to just be like a thrown away thing.
Yeah, and Toby Jones
I think is.
Yeah.
There you go.
He was a great character in that role. I think
He was funny actor in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays a lot of weird guys.
Yeah, he plays like that funny, like little weird, creepy. Like he was in Sherlock as well.
I can go off some tangents.
This show is like 80% tangents, 20% actual content.
I know, I swear. Well, we're at 37 minutes, almost 38 minutes now. So why don't we wrap it up here and then just call it?
We may as well make it just the length of the episode at this point.
Yeah, in the comments. In the comments, leave us your predictions and who you think is going to show up in the show.
I mean, I definitely want to see what happens next. I'm hoping that there's not. I just don't want to have another letdown the way that they did with WandaVision, and I'm not going to just like give up, obviously. But
there's no letdown if you don't get your hopes up.
Exactly.
So just keep your hopes down.
Zero hope. I have zero hope right now for this show, so maybe that's a good thing.
If they're not best friends by the end of the show, then I will be let down.
What do you want them like holding hands, dancing along to Queen? Like, oh, you're my best friend.
We are the champions.
I want them to cut the shield in half and each have a half and wear it around their neck. And then like, you put the neck
they have to wear it around their neck. Wear half a shield around their neck.
They get terrible backache.
What, looking like 2000 rappers? Like,
exactly.
Giant chains and all. All right. And that note, I think we're going to call it good and say thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching Cult of Comics podcast. I'm your host, Tyler. You can find me on Twitter. Whenever I get my account unsuspended at TCH Brown. You can find Sean Walsh at SeanWalsh747. I took it for you. Mine.
Yep, at Sean Walsh 747. My account is not currently locked, so feel free to follow me.
And you can find Josh hanging out in the backyard, scrounging for some gold nuggets. And you can
my accounts aren't locked either
because you don't have one.
They're not going to get locked.
Well, whenever you come out from the witness protection program, it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of social media accounts you've had hidden for all these years from against the mafia. You never told me. Yakuza, my bad. Anyways, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for supporting us. Do us a favor, though. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow, and very gently caress that subscribe button. If you are listening to us on one of the multitudes of podcast streaming services, such as Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Pocket Cast, any of the podcast locations. You can thank Anchor.fm for doing that. By distributing the podcast for us, Anchor.fm is the easiest way for you to get started on making your very first podcast, getting sponsorships, and distributing your podcasts all in a singular place with no extra cost. You can also download the app on the Google Play Store or the App Store and get started just doing it anywhere you want. Maybe you want to be out in the woods and you want to just do a show about birds. And then the birds come up and then they're like, why are you watching us, man? That's kind of weird. And then you're like, holy fuck, I found a talking bird. I'm going to be fucking rich. And then that bird flies off. And then you realize, oh shit, I didn't take my meds today. Mitch Hedberg jokes. Thank you very much for liking us, subscribing. But also, if you do like us and you want to subscribe to us and you want to give us a follow, give us $1. You can find us on Patreon if you want to give us that $1 higher level. We will invite you into the Discord chat where you can have memes sent your way that are mostly really dark because Sean has
I've got a lot of memes. Yeah,
I know you do. For the $5 and higher level, you can have a conversation with us about some of the comics that you've been reading. And for the $10 and higher level, you can actually come on to the show. Why not? And if you are on any of these programs where you can leave us a comment, let us know what you want us to review next, what you want us to have a conversation about, or if there's something that you think that could be improved about the show, in which case I will comment back and let you know. I'm not going to take your advice, but thank you for commenting. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day. Stay safe during the pandemic. All hail.